Mission Christian Radio presents The Seventh Son, the story of King David of Israel, written for radio in 13 episodes by Colm Flanagan. Episode 5 is entitled Outcast.
It seems a strange thing to know that you are to be king of a country and yet find yourself in exile. But that's the position my brother David was in. He had fled from the implacable anger of King Saul, and this had cost him his marriage to Saul's daughter Michal. He lost his position at court and in the army, but Saul's anger against David had cost others their lives. Anyone helping David was Saul's enemy, and he was ruthless in making that clear. Yet there were those in the land who remained loyal to David and joined him on the run. Naturally, I went with him. He was my brother, and I had nowhere else to go anyway. One night, we were at our camp in the caves near Adullam. It was hill country, and many people around were David's friends. Here, he felt safe. But there was something else on his mind that night.
David, what's wrong? We've nearly 400 people following you, including those of us in here, and many of them are good fighters, or at least people of power and influence. Surely Saul can't go on like this forever.
No, it's not that, brother.
So what is it?
It's our father and mother. I don't like them having to stay here, like common outlaws.
But why not? After all, it was their choice to follow you here.
What option did they have? With Saul on the rampage, there's no knowing what he might have done to them. They're old. It's not fair. I need to find them somewhere safer.
And so David made the dangerous journey to Moab. He arranged for his parents to stay there, which eased his mind and was frankly a relief to me too. A few weeks later, as we sat outside the cave, we had an unexpected visitor.
Who's that coming? Look, down there.
I can't really see. It's definitely not a soldier.
Is that David, the Lord's anointed, up there?
I know that voice. Gad, it's great to see you again. Come on up quickly.
Trust you to have a hilltop camp. David, it's a steep climb. Oh, but it's good to see you both.
I'll get you a drink, Gad. You look as if you could do with one.
Oh, thank you.
I went into the cave. Gad was, I knew, a prophet and a follower of the Lord. Why had he come here? I brought out a drink for him. Then, after a few moments' chat, David paused and became serious.
Tell me, Gad, why have you come?
I thought you might have the answer to that, David.
I do need some advice. I've felt for some time now that I needed to hear something from the Lord himself, but I don't know what. I feel as though I'm stumbling around in the dark looking for something that I can't quite find. None of this seems to be working out the way I thought it would.
Tell me, David, why are you here?
What? That's an odd question.
Humour me. I'm serious.
Well, because of Saul. I mean, you know how he wants to kill me.
Indeed I do. And he hasn't changed his mind at all. If anything, he's worse. But is that all?
I don't understand you, Gad. Isn't that enough?
All right, then. What's your plan?
Plan?
You're the Lord's anointed, aren't you?
Well, yes, but...
God clearly doesn't want you just to sit in a cave on top of a hill for the rest of your life. Isn't it time you started to take more control of your future?
But what can I do against King Saul?
Oh, David, you know as well as I do, there are many people in Israel who believe that the Lord has turned his back on Saul.
So? Will they join me here?
No, I don't think so. But look, David, they would welcome you as a leader and as a fighter who can protect them. Many of our small communities on the border round this region are being attacked regularly by the wretched Philistines. You know what they're like.
Yes, of course.
They know Saul is unstable, weak. His rage against you has blinded him to everything else. Things are badly out of control in the country. So the Philistines take advantage of that. They attack our people, not with a big army, but just groups of them. Not enough to rouse Saul, but more than enough to make our folks' lives a misery.
Indeed.
I believe that the Lord wants you to go back and help protect your people. In return, they'll help you. Go back to your own people, David, the people of Judah in particular, and the Lord will be with you. He has told me that. That's my message to you.
So that's what we did. And as attack is the best form of defence, David and his men began attacking the Philistines who'd been raiding the border area around the town of Keilah. The Philistines had little stomach for real fight and they fled. David decided to stay in the town for a while, and all seemed well. Our stay in Keilah became protracted. With David and his band protecting them, the townsfolk felt more secure, and they enjoyed sharing some of the plunder he provided from his occasional raids on the Philistines. And so they were happy to shelter us and look after us, or so we thought. Until one day, I was in a small tavern when I overheard a worrying conversation.
It's good that we've got rid of the Philistines. It wasn't safe to be out in the fields.
Yes, thanks to David and his men.
Indeed. Peace is good. But I wonder how long it'll last.
Do you think the Philistines will come back?
Nah, I don't think so. Now, David and his men are good fighters. Not only that, but we've done quite well from the cattle and the goods he took from the last lot of Philistines he beat. But on the other hand...
Other hand?
Well, who's paying for his keep? And there are plenty of his other followers in town now.
I see what you mean.
And then there's Saul.
True. But he doesn't know David is here.
But if he did hear, he'd be down here like a shot with his army. And I wouldn't want my family to be around if that happens.
No.
Saul can be very vicious, you know. Look what happened to those priests who helped David.
So, what are you saying?
I think maybe I should have a little talk with some of our city elders. Just make sure they understand the situation. There are a few who may have some ideas as to what to do.
I left as unobtrusively as I could. This was very worrying. Maybe Keilah wasn't a safe place after all. I felt annoyed too. Ungrateful people, after all we'd done for them. I returned to the place where David was staying. He was with Abiathar, the son of the priest who died for helping David some time back. Sir David, I don't think we're all that safe here. People are getting a bit scared of what Saul might do to them if he finds out they're sheltering you.
You may be right, yes. Although I've a good mind to maybe teach some of these people a lesson. One they'll not forget in a hurry. What do you think, Abiathar?
Since when did killing ever do any good, David?
What do you mean?
Well, it's one thing to fight people like the Philistines who are always spoiling for a fight and eager for plunder. But just because some of the people here are getting nervous about their future, we can hardly take it out on the townsfolk generally, can we? Wouldn't a lot of innocent people get killed too? Just the way my father and the priests were?
He's right, you know, David.
Yes. Okay. I shall have to have a think about what we do.
Why not ask the Lord for guidance?
A good idea. That's just what I'll do.
And David did just that.
Brother, the Lord has told me that Saul is still intent on coming after me here, and that the leaders of Keilah will hand me over to him if he threatens the town.
So?
Let's get out of here, fast.
So we left that very night, slipping out past guards who conveniently looked the other way. There's no doubt they were relieved to see all 600 of us go. This time we headed off into the desert area around a little town called Ziph. It was hilly country with plenty of caves and other hiding places, and we stopped at one near Mount Horesh. But even there, We weren't going to remain undisturbed for long.
Sire, there's a man to see you. He says it's important.
What does he want?
I understand he has information about a certain person whom your majesty would very much like to deal with.
That son of Jesse? Yes, I would. Well, bring him in. Let's see if he has anything useful to say.
You! Come this way. The king will see you now.
Hail, your majesty! I bring you greetings from all your loyal subjects in Ziph.
You do you? Ziph. Where is Ziph? I've never heard of Ziph. Have you ever heard of it, Doeg?
Well, I may have.
Your majesty, it's a humble town situated near the southern desert.
Oh, never mind that now. I don't care where it is anyway. Loyal, you say?
Oh, yes, your majesty. We in Ziph would have no dealings with anyone other than...
Yes. No doubt. Now, you were saying you have news for me?
Your majesty is having trouble with a certain outlaw, I understand.
And what if I am?
Well, I and other loyal subjects of your majesty in Ziph, we know where he may be found.
Do you indeed? That would be good news. If true, Doeg?
Yes, indeed, your majesty. If true.
Oh, I assure you, it is true. And I and my loyal friends would be only too happy to lead your majesty to the area and assist your majesty in any way we can.
And no doubt you would appreciate some reward?
Oh, your majesty, the knowledge of having served you is reward enough.
Oh, a likely story. Well, I'll tell you what, this son of Jesse, you know who, is very cunning. He's led me a merry dance before. He moves around. He has more than just one hideout. So you find out where all his hidey holes are, and when you've done that, I'll come. I will not be ungrateful if I catch him. You understand?
Your majesty is too kind.
Yes. Now you may go. See him out, Doeg. Nasty little toad, Doeg. If they're all like that in Ziph, I'm really quite glad I've never heard of the place before.
Oh, indeed, your majesty. Still, they may prove useful to us.
They may indeed.
And so Saul was yet again hunting David. But just as he closed in on us, the ever-warlike Philistines, thinking him distracted by his search for David, attacked some important towns in Israel, and he was forced to break off the pursuit. Many people in the area had ambivalent feelings about David. Some, like most of Judah, believed him to be the true successor to Saul and God's choice. Others regarded him as a nuisance whose presence put them in jeopardy from the wrath of Saul. The situation needed resolving, and it was soon to be, though not in a way anyone expected.
In episode 5 of The Seventh Son, the narrator and seventh son was played by John Lander, and other parts were played by members of the Commission Radio Drama Team. The play was produced in Belfast at Commission Studios by Colm Flanagan. Episode 6 is entitled Tragedy and Triumph.